Hello there, friends. Steve Turgoose here. Yes, I was thinking on the way here. Um, I think thinking back to when I was young, when I was about 10 years old, and I was watching television. And back in those days, there was only about 3 channels on television. And I clicked through the channels, and there was an old black and white film on, and it was Lenny Bruce, the movie. Lenny Bruce is like a stand-up, or was, the late Lenny Bruce is a stand-up comedian, more satirist really, and makes a lot of jokes about politics and stuff in America. And the film's portrayed by Dustin Hoffman. It's well worth a watch. Lenny Bruce, the movie, and I remembered as a kid then watching. I'd only really switched on halfway through, but I was watching sort of like the middle of the film, and it brought me to tears. It made me cry. And I remember at that age it was kind of a shock to see something so serious, so adult, to make me cry. I didn't consider myself to have any problems in life that I could cry about, really. But just to see Lenny Bruce just talk about the things in society, and for people to laugh as a kind of like sign of truth, a truth laughter. And to realise that these we shouldn't really be laughing about these things. We shouldn't really be laughing about our own humanity, stupidity. We shouldn't really be laughing at politicians' stupidity. We should be getting them out. We shouldn't laugh about things that are tragic. Not until the tragedy's over, really. Don't get me wrong. A sense of humour is always important in life. Otherwise, we would not make it through this endeavour. And I always appreciated people who can tell good jokes and lighten the mood, and I always appreciate a lot of people around me who are not really so deeply focused on politics and problems and the world and burdens and things that need solving. They're more focused on the light things of life, the nice things, food and the flavour and friendship and all these things that are really actually core to life, and I like to have people around me who appreciate those things. But these days, I don't see people's appreciation or gratitude for life itself and for the things that we give each other and stuff. I don't see that so much. And so I'm thinking to myself, well, these people who are around me are supposed to like enjoy the food and the shelter and the friendship and everything. We should be enjoying that. And if we're not enjoying that, then there's a social problem. It's an individual problem and it's a social problem. And I've been looking at this for years, and like I say, I realised watching Lenny Bruce and crying as a kid that somebody needed to say something. Somebody needed to say it as it is. To leave away all of the irony and leave away all of the gags and jokes and personality and celebrity statuses. Just to say it like it is regardless. That's the person that I wanted to see. I didn't care whether this person was popular, famous, or had millions of followers. I wanted to see one man or woman speak, and speak the way it is, not to try and paint a picture around it. Now obviously nobody knows how it is, so we're going to have to give each other a little bit of understanding, so that when one of us just says, this whole system is bullshit, then obviously we don't literally mean it is like the excrement of a bovine. But, we're going to have to... One person says a word and the other person listens to the word. Both are responsible. But the one who listens is mostly responsible because he's going to be the one that's going to do something with the word. Otherwise, the word need not have been spoken. Anyway, so I'm looking at the world, and the internet comes, and then there's more and more exposure and disclosure, and more about government corruption and the system corruption and things that we can do to change the world and things that we can't do. The whole problem seems to get bigger, and I just see a lot of celebrities, people trying to say things on this format being scared or being like inhibited or self-censoring themselves for one or the other reason, be it popularity or fear of losing their possessions or whatever. There's a lot of risks. There's a lot of risks in exposing yourself to the world in that way. And I'm watching this stuff like we all do. I'm just watching all of these like films and these different documentaries, these different presentations. But most of all, I'm looking for people with voices. I'm looking for people who are just looking into the camera and speaking clearly in as good a way as they can. Not to try and keep their roots, or just to try and work with the audience, with themselves, with the issue, eye to eye, ear to ear. That's the people that I want in my life. Like politicians, they're like, they show the face and they speak the voice, but everything that comes out of that voice is just scripted. Everything that is about these politicians is just so artificial and synthetic that there's no way on earth that can be the person inside the suit. So these politicians are obviously not there to represent humanity, but just to administer a legislation. Anybody in a suit is there not to represent themselves, so how can you represent humanity by proxy? How can you represent humanity through a chain of command? How can you represent humanity through a job description or a set of rules? You cannot represent humanity unless you do it from your own self. So it'd be stupid of me, even if you're like a million as an audience or a million as a listener. I see you all as individuals. But here, obviously, I'm the one with the microphone. I'm the one with the camera. So I have to say I. If I say we, then I'm making a presumption on your behalf. We should all be more individuals. No, I should be more individual. And the reason I'm saying that is so you can all hear that. Otherwise I wouldn't say it. I can think it to myself, I should be more individual. I should, if I say it to you, I should be more individual. I could say you should be more individual. And so that comes with this problem of when you make a channel, or when you're like on a stage or in a spotlight, you've got the microphone, suddenly I becomes we. We have all got to do this, we. And I as a viewer, I as the audience, because I'm not always on in the spotlight, so to speak. I'm usually also a part of the audience. I step down off my little stage and watch then the show from the other side. So I see how it works. I see that, and I'm watching this media thinking, which person can I see on the internet that I would choose to represent me if I wasn't there? Which person would I choose? Popular or celebrity, or just somebody who makes little video blogs and gets maybe one view? Who has exposed their ideas to the public globally through the internet that I could consider being a voice that I could stand behind? And that's a long call, because I personally have got a lot of rules. I've got a lot of aspirations about how people should be, but at the same time I can let go of those based on a mutual thing. So if you've got some skills, then I'll overlook your errors. I'll overlook your weaknesses because of your skills. But I'm not there to judge you anyway. But we're talking about a voice who can speak on behalf of humanity. I want to see that person stand on a stage in front of an audience with the microphone and say the things that audience want to hear, to say the things that I want to hear. Because if we're going to say the word we, it has to come from some sort of humanitarian authority, some self-authoritarian. Everybody has to be their own authority on that one. When we say we, every I has the authority there. And I don't see that. There's a lot of really good ideas out there and they're growing, but Um, for myself, I just wanted to see one person just stand up and tell it like it is. And I guess that's the person I'm trying to be. But I wouldn't judge others in this crazy world. I can't say that anyone or anyone else's way of doing things or way of saying things or behaviour is any better or worse than anybody else's, so long it doesn't harm anybody. I can't really say that it's better to be a joker in society or to be direct and tell it like it is, you know. I don't know whether it's better to have a joke or a double twist to everything I say. You know, I just try and say it like it is, and it gets really difficult. And so I can only really follow my own driving force, whatever that may be. And this is only really the beginning for me. I didn't expect to even aspire to becoming any kind of voice to represent anybody, what anybody is thinking or saying. You know, I just always saw that position as needing to be filled, and I don't think by just one person. I think by as many people. I think really, if somebody is going to be a voice of the people, then it should be loud enough to shout. So a thousand people's enough, you know. But it doesn't matter. I don't want to make up any rules. You know, it's just people. I think it'd be just. I would like to see people stand up and just tell it like it is. Forget all of the jokery and forget all of the. You know, to try and look at things a little bit fresh as well. You know. I guess that's all I've got to say in this. You know, but before I leave it, there is. What I've noticed from the time I've been making videos, for starters, I've noticed that I've been my own worst enemy. I've always predicted worse from myself than anybody's ever put back on comments. I'm my own worst critic. And I've found that a lot of people haven't really got the core, or haven't expressed the core elements of what I've been saying, but they've definitely kind of like surprised me in other ways, you know, really kind of made my world, you know, I wouldn't have carried on doing it if it wasn't for the feedback and that. So it remains a mystery to me, and that's a good thing. And it's, if you look at things over, if you're patient and watch things, you see how the world has changed and is changing and is moving in a good direction. And if you remove a lot of the fear aspects, the things that we don't know about, then there was a lot more hope and possibilities in the future. You know, I think sometimes we just see things too pessimistically, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And so for myself as well, there's so many issues that I want to talk about on videos, so many things that I'm fired up to say, and occasionally I'll start a video and I think, no, there's still time. It's a pace, and if we can take the right step at the right time, then it has more force and we put a lot less effort in. You know, this whole thing's about having maximum effect from minimal effort, and so that everybody's included, you know. And it's a step-for-step thing. The whole humanity, there is an individual awakening, but in a way you'll kind of keep bumping into walls until enough other people around you have woken up. Then you can kind of bump into more walls. But it's going to be a global change, I'm sure. And so to have the patience, and but also to keep doing the things that we can do to fill in those spaces where we feel like, yeah, I want to get to the next step, instead of just being all like anxiety and nervous about getting to the next step, just to fill in that time knowing that that next step will arrive and that you're ready for it. And then there's another step. You know, what do I mean by step? You know, the layers of consciousness being peeled away, you know, so we can see different things more clearly. Okay, yes, like I say, it's for me, up to now, you know, this whole video thing, this whole making videos and that, it's been a lot of experimentation as well. You know, it's genuine, and but I'm very much aware that it's like, for me, it's like being a baby, you know, being like a child on this format. You know, I've got so much to learn about I don't know exactly. I've got so much to learn about the things that I don't know. Alright then, thanks for being here and thanks for being on the channel. You do make a massive difference. Obviously, you know, you're all great in your own little ways. Crazy, but fantastic. And that's why I'm continuing to do this and to do my best to stay with the vocation, to stay with the thing I'm doing, you know, not to wander off this, because this is why you know, this is why we're together, to get this problem sorted out. And I am serious about trying to, I don't know, heal the world, make things better, whatever. You know, maybe you can leave a good description or something in the comments box. What are we trying to do? Are we trying to heal the world? Are we trying to save the world? Are we trying to save ourselves? You know. Okay, thanks a lot for watching. See you later. Cheerio.